You know, in all my years on this judge's bench, and we're talking over 40 years, you think you've seen everything. But that Tuesday morning in March, when Secret Service agents stormed into my courtroom like a military operation, I knew this day would be different. Metal detectors, security checks, bomb-sniffing dogs, and then walking through those doors with the confidence of someone who thought he was untouchable, came Eric Trump Jr., 28 years old, the son of President Donald Trump. I got to court early that morning, as I always do. My father taught me, Frank, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late. So there I was, 8:20 a.m., reviewing my case list with a cup of strong black coffee, the Italian way, and I saw his name, Eric David Trump Jr. He faced multiple charges, hitting someone, assault and battery, threatening witnesses, and using his father's presidential power to stop justice. Christina leaned over and whispered, "Judge, this one is national news." National news? That was an understatement. Every major news channel had trucks outside the courthouse. Everyone wanted to know, would the former president's son get special treatment, or would justice be fair to everyone? I had heard of the Trump family, of course. Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, a powerful political figure. But power doesn't impress me. Why? Because I grew up in a tough part of Providence. My father worked 3 jobs. He taught me that it doesn't matter how much power you have. What matters is your character, and character is something you cannot inherit. What happened at the nightclub? The case started 4 weeks earlier. Eric Trump Jr. was at a Providence nightclub called Vibe. The police report said he had been drinking heavily. Around 1:30 a.m., he got into an argument with another person, a 34-year-old teacher named Michael Rodriguez. The argument started over something small. Michael accidentally bumped into Eric near the bar because the club was crowded. Michael immediately apologized, but Eric grabbed his shirt and pushed him back into a table. When Michael tried to walk away, Eric followed him. That's when Eric said the words that became national news, caught on several cell phone videos. "Do you know who I am? I'm a Trump. My father was president of the United States. He still runs this country. One phone call and you're done. You lose your teaching job. You'll never work again. Nobody touches a Trump." Then Eric punched Michael in the face and broke his nose. Police arrived. Officer Daniel Chen tried to question Eric, but Eric refused, demanding to speak to the Secret Service. He then made another statement. "You can't arrest me. My father has presidential immunity, and it extends to his family. You touch me, and there will be consequences for your career, for this police department, for this entire city." Officer Chen professionally arrested Eric Trump Jr. on assault and battery charges. Eric was released on bail 2 hours later, paid by his father's legal team. The threats began. Then the threats started. Michael Rodriguez received phone calls from unknown numbers, all saying the same thing: drop the charges. The Trump family doesn't forget. Your teaching career will be over if you continue. Michael recorded 3 of those calls. Prosecutors traced 2 numbers back to Trump Organization employees. The third came from a hidden burner phone near Mar-a-Lago. The confrontation in court. So here we are, March 18th. Eric Trump Jr. walked in 17 minutes late, surrounded by Secret Service and 4 lawyers, including a former U.S. Attorney General. Eric wore an expensive suit. His face showed a mix of arrogance and certainty that this would just disappear. He didn't look at me or apologize for being late. Behind him, sitting in the front row, was Donald Trump himself, the former president. He sat with his arms crossed, staring at me, used to getting his way. "Mr. Trump," I said, looking at Eric, "thank you for joining us. You're 17 minutes late. Do you have an explanation?" His lawyer, Marcus Wellington, stood up. "Your Honor, my client's security detail required extra screening. The delay was unavoidable." "Counselor," I interrupted, "your client is a private citizen facing criminal charges. The circumstances do not excuse him from being on time." "Mr. Trump," I continued, "you are charged with assault against Michael Rodriguez and threatening a witness using your family's political power. How do you plead?" Eric stood up slowly. His voice was confident, almost bored. Not guilty, Your Honor. This is a complete misunderstanding because of who my father is. Mr. Rodriguez started the fight. I defended myself. That's not assault. And as for witness intimidation, I never made any threats. People are making up stories to get money. This is a shakedown. Mr. Trump, I said carefully, you just accused the victim of starting the fight and lying about threats. The prosecution has video evidence and recorded phone calls. Would you like to change your statement? Eric shook his head. Your Honor, I stand by what I said. I defended myself, and I never threatened anyone. It's all fake. The evidence. The prosecutor began presenting the evidence. The first video showed Michael accidentally bumping into Eric, apologizing, and trying to walk away. Eric grabbed him, pushed him into a table, followed him, and punched him in the face. The second video had clear audio of Eric's voice. Do you know who I am? I'm a Trump. One phone call, and you're done. Nobody touches a Trump. The third evidence was the audio of the 3 threatening phone calls Michael received. The voices said things like, drop the charges or lose your job. School boards are political. The Trump family has unlimited resources. The court was silent. Mr. Trump, I said to Eric, you just heard yourself threaten Mr. Rodriguez using your father's power. Do you still say you are innocent? His lawyer said Eric was drunk and didn't remember. Counselor, being drunk doesn't excuse assault, and it certainly doesn't excuse threatening a witness with presidential power. I asked Michael Rodriguez to approach. He was a history teacher who taught his students about democracy and that no one is above the law. Your Honor, Michael said, if I drop these charges because I'm afraid of political payback from a former president's family, how can I ever teach those principles again? I looked at Eric Trump Jr. He was scrolling on his phone, barely paying attention. Mr. Trump, I said firmly, put the phone away. I stood up and walked down to stand directly in front of Eric Trump Jr. Mr. Trump, your father was the 45th president. That is his accomplishment, not yours. You were born into that privilege, and what you did with it is disgraceful. You used your father's presidency as a weapon. In this courtroom, we don't have royal families. Your father's presidency doesn't exempt you from consequences. You are just a 28-year-old man who assaulted someone. The former president speaks. That's when Donald Trump stood up. Your Honor, he said, may I address the court? Mr. Trump, I replied, you are welcome to speak, but you are a private citizen and a spectator here. Trump walked forward. Your Honor, my son is young. He made a mistake, but let's be reasonable. This was a bar fight, nothing more. To threaten him with jail time seems excessive. Mr. Trump, your son didn't just throw a punch. He threatened a teacher using your presidential legacy as a weapon. That's an abuse of power. This teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, he could be looking for money, a settlement, Trump insisted. Michael Rodriguez stood up. Mr. Trump, I don't want your money. I want accountability. Sit down, Mr. Trump, I said firmly. Both of you, this is not a negotiation. I looked at Donald Trump. Mr. Trump, I am going to say this once. Your son broke the law. The evidence is overwhelming. Your presidency, your influence, your wealth, none of it matters in this courtroom. The sentence. Mr. Trump, the evidence is overwhelming. I find you guilty of assault and battery. I find you guilty of witness intimidation. His lawyer pleaded for probation. Your client used his family's prominence as a weapon, I interrupted. That is not a reason to be lenient. It's a reason to be severe. Here is your sentence. You will serve 12 months in the Rhode Island Adult Correctional Institutions. Not house arrest, but actual jail time. You will spend 1 year learning that presidential families are not above the law. You will be on probation for 5 years after your release. You will complete 1,000 hours of community service, personally teaching civics how government works, to at-risk youth. You will pay full restitution to Mr. Rodriguez, medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering totaling $75,000. You will issue a public apology acknowledging that no American family is above the law. Your client will remain in custody pending that appeal. Bailiff, please take Mr. Trump into custody. Eric Trump Jr. lost control. You can't do this. My father will. Your father is a private citizen, I said calmly. He has no power here. This is political persecution, Eric yelled. You're doing this because you hate my father. Mr. Trump, I said quietly, I'm doing this because you broke the law and thought your last name would protect you. It won't. As they put the handcuffs on Eric Trump Jr., Donald Trump stood up again. Your Honor, you're making a very serious mistake. My family has resources, connections, influence. Are you threatening this court, Mr. Trump? I asked. I'm stating facts, Trump replied. Mr. Trump, let me state some facts for you. Your son committed a crime. I don't care if you're angry. I don't care if you have resources and connections. In this courtroom, the law applies to everyone equally, including your family. We'll see about that, Trump said quietly. Yes, we will, I replied. As they led Eric away, he passed Michael Rodriguez. Michael said, I hope you learn from this. I hope you understand that being born into privilege comes with responsibility. The final lesson. 6 months later, I received a letter from Eric Trump Jr., written from jail. He wrote that the first month was the hardest experience of his life. He was angry at everyone but himself, but slowly he started to understand. He was working with the civics program, teaching other inmates about the Constitution. For the first time in my life, I'm not using my family name. I'm just Eric, teaching people about democracy and accountability. Thank you for not letting my father's presidency excuse my behavior. It might be the most important lesson anyone has ever taught me. That letter is framed in my chambers. If this story moved you, remember this. In America, we don't have royalty. Presidential power ends at the courtroom door. Eric Trump Jr. used his father's presidency as a weapon, and I gave him 12 months to learn that in a democracy, justice is blind to power, wealth, and political influence. I'm Frank Caprio. Court adjourned.